Hiya! Welcome! The humble compact cassette has come back. Never really went away, but audio cassettes, compact cassettes, whatever you may call them, they kind of declined a lot in the mid to late 1990s when compact discs became lower in price. And much like vinyl in recent years, or records, as most normal people call them, audio cassettes have made a little bit of a comeback, and I think they're getting more sales every year. I am doing a mail opening today. I've got 3 cassettes to open and show you today. All quite interesting, really, because unusually they are quite new releases. Cassettes, they're not back to how they were in the 80s and 90s, the #1 format for buying pre-recorded music. They're still kind of treated as novelties now, sort of something a little bit fun, collector's items, I suppose. So I've got 3 tapes, all newish releases. I'll talk about them as I open them. I'll start with this one first. This one I bought from Mute Bank, which, for those who don't know, that is the online record store for Mute Records. Mute Records being a long-standing independent record label. They started in, I think it was either the late 70s or early 80s, and they're still surviving today. And I know what's in here. I know what's in all of these, obviously. I'm really excited to have a proper look. So, our first tape, what we've got, just have a look at the packing slip. Our first tape is Erasure. Now then, I think they've actually sent me the wrong tape. It's hard to tell. Yes, now then, let me just show you. The packing slip says Erasure World Be Gone. That's what I ordered. But this tape, and you're probably not going to be able to see that very well at all, is Erasure World Beyond. Now, I was going to talk a bit about this tape. World Be Gone was Erasure's most recent studio album. I think it came out in 2017. They released a companion piece, an orchestral-only edition, World Beyond, probably, I don't know, a year later, maybe a bit less, I'm not sure. And Mute Bank have sent me that one by accident. I'm not too disappointed, because I was thinking, if I enjoy World Be Gone, then I may end up buying World Beyond as well. But yeah, it's a bit annoying that they've sent me the wrong one to begin with. I may get onto them about it, or I may just chalk it down to experience. But let's get the cellophane off and have a closer look at this cassette. Erasure have been on Mute Records all their existence as a synth duo. So that'll be, God, about 35 years or more now. So just a closer look at it. Now, these are why cassettes are kind of getting kind of collectible, because some of the cassettes are actually properly coloured. This one is a very boring cassette in that it's just a clear casing, but there's a nice colourful label on. I can see why they'd be confused in packing, because I think the sleeves for this album and the one that I did order, World Be Gone, are very similar, just different colours. Yeah, this is the orchestral version because it's given all the credits for people in the orchestra that played with them. There's also a download code there. I won't show that too long in case I decide to use it. I probably won't. So, there we are. Anyone of a certain age who bought plenty of cassettes back in the 80s and 90s will know the drill. There's no Dolby noise reduction or anything like that on, because Dolby don't license that sort of thing to record labels and record pressing plants anymore. But my cassette deck doesn't have any Dolby on anyway, and probably a lot of what people are buying today doesn't have Dolby on. But anyway, yeah, so that's Erasure World Beyond. Even though I did order World Be Gone, I'm still going to listen to this, and hopefully they may send me out the one I do want. Right, let's open another package. I don't think there's going to be anything mistaken about this. This was from eBay. Oh, by the way, this Erasure was £10 and then another £2.50 postage. This cassette from eBay was a winning bid of £12.50 and then another £1 postage. And it is what is, I believe, the second biggest selling cassette album of 2018. It's Golden by Kylie, and this is a really nice collector's item, and you'll see why when I've taken the cellophane off. I've not heard any of these albums, by the way, that I'm showing you today. So, Kylie Minogue, Golden, a country-tinged album, I'm led to believe. Like I say, I'm not familiar with any of the music here. These are just things that I bought. I just fancied adding some new cassettes to my collection. And these ones seem particularly well priced while also being collectible. But this one is really nice. Look at that sort of glittery. Hopefully that's coming across pretty well on camera. That really nice sort of golden, sparkly effect. I don't think it looks great on camera, but to the naked eye, that is really nice. So this has been quite a popular cassette album. I say popular. Cassette sales are still only a fraction of what they were 30 years ago, but as collector's items, they're starting to gain kind of an audience, a hipster audience, probably mostly. But for people like me who are mid to late 30s and remember cassettes being just the bog standard format, then there's some nostalgia there as well. So looking forward to listening to that one, Kylie, Golden. And I've got one more. This one I bought from the band, who you will see who they are in a minute. It was their online store. I think their products are handled by a company called Townsend Music, according to this. So let's see what the third and final tape that I've bought in this little haul is. It is, and it's quite a dark cover, so you're not going to see it very well on camera. No Tourists by The Prodigy. This was £7 and I think £1.50 postage. None of these were expensive really. Of course, The Prodigy were back in the news in very sad circumstances recently when singer Keith Flint hung himself at his home in Essex a couple of months ago. This would have been, well, it'll be their final album featuring Keith. This came out only last year. I think they're in the midst of touring this when Keith Flint died. There again, that's got a nice label on it, but the actual cassette itself is just a plain, clear, see-through one. And as with the others, there's no Dolby noise reduction on, or any bells and whistles. Bog standard cassette will play in any player, but I do recommend, if you are going to get into cassettes or get back into cassettes, that you buy decent equipment, because there's just such a lot of cheap tat out there, and then what's the point? People say the same about records. Don't play records on a cheap, crappy record player. And I think the same goes with cassettes, really. Even though cassettes are still considered more of a novelty, whereas people actually do buy vinyl, do buy records, because of the decent analogue quality. You can get a good sound out of a tape, but you really need to be playing it on a decent deck. And I wouldn't say mine's brilliant, but it's a Sony, and it wasn't a cheap one of its time. I know there's better out there, but for the amount of cassettes that I've got, it doesn't really seem worth me buying a better deck just yet, but I may look out for one in the future. I'll talk a little bit about some other interesting cassettes that I've seen very recently while I was online shopping for those three. Record Store Day happened only the other day, and a cassette that had come out, it was a re-release of something from 1995. It was The Versace Experience by Prince. This was a Record Store Day limited edition, and remaining stock was supposed to go up for sale about a week ago, and I tried my hardest to get this tape, and I registered at 3 different sites, couldn't get it. Then I saw all the flippers had put it up on eBay, and it was just way more than the £11-12 that really it should have cost. It's a shame I didn't realise about it before Record Store Day, and then I would have actually physically gone to fetch it at my local record store. An interesting thing about The Versace Experience by Prince is the original cassette from 1995 is the most expensive cassette tape ever sold on Discogs. I believe it's fetched $4,000. Bloody hell. And then a couple of interesting things that I've seen, just from looking around, are these multicoloured cassette reissues. These do catch my eye and do tempt me, because I like these sort of brightly coloured, you know, the novelties, let's be honest, but I like how they look. Björk, the Icelandic artist, she's re-released all her 9 solo albums on cassette, all of them differently coloured. I think you can buy them as a bundle from her web shop for about £60. Björk, kind of a legendary artist in the alternative scene. And for those who prefer things a bit more poppy and a bit more light-hearted, another act who've brought out their first 6 albums this time on multicoloured cassette is Bananarama. I think these cost about £10 each. It's Bananarama's first 6 studio albums. They're again really attractive kind of collectibles, these. I'm pretty tempted by all of these. And you can just pick and choose. You don't have to buy them as bundles. You can just pick 1 or 2 or however many you want. But I do like these fancy, colourful audio cassette reissues. So that was my look at some cassettes that I've bought recently. One of them isn't quite the right one that I wanted. I'm going to get in touch with Mute Records and see what they've got to say about that. Visually wise, I think the Kylie one is going to be the best purchase simply because of this glittery tape. That's really nice. And looking forward to listening to that. That was the cheapest, the Prodigy album. But I've not heard any of the music. I think I might have heard a couple of tracks off the Prodigy's album already, but all in all, I've not heard any of these tracks before, generally. So, some new music to listen to on audio cassette. Lovely. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this look at audio cassettes, and if I buy more of this sort of thing in the future, I will endeavour to show you all on YouTube. Thank you also to all my subscribers. So much appreciated. Stick around for a brief message after this video about the Win 5 Funko Pop giveaway. There's not long to go now before the live draw, which takes place 9:30 in the evening British time on Saturday, May the 4th. Thank you everyone again for watching. Please join me next time for my next music collection video. Cheers everybody. See ya!
Stay tuned for your chance to win 5 Funko Pops.